Hey, Flash fans, Dan Griffin with you here. It's time for another episode of Flash Talk. Always great to catch up with Coach Oakley and talk a little Kent State softball. So, Coach, welcome. Congratulations on the start of the year. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, I'm not, until we're standing on dirt, I'm not taking it to the bank yet. So it's close. We're really close, but still some hurdles, weather, another round of tests, and then of course, the tests that the other teams have to take, and just really, we saw a lot of games get canceled last weekend in the NCAA. So very promising, very hopeful. It's hopefully right there in front of us.
Well, let's start with that. Had to have been, and I've said this to countless people and countless coaches, a unique offseason, and for you guys, a preseason as well. Just kind of talk about balancing, obviously trying to find hitting indoors, playing indoors. Can't obviously do anything outside with a foot of snow, and
Right.
that's already interesting enough. And then couple it with all the regulations and protocols that we're going through. Just talk about how you guys have been maybe able to manage all that.
Well, I think it was the fall that was really a little more different. We're used to this time of year having to be indoors, and I think what's been interesting about this overall is because we've had to do things differently. Maybe we're doing some things better. Maybe we have taken a look at how we do things, and we got into a rut, and we're trying some things different. So, when we started up in the fall, it was just we were all just so glad to be back playing. That was the devastating part, was watching our seniors lose their last season, and everybody lost a season. That was tough, but really the hardest part was senior day that came and went without being able to do anything for our seniors. So that was really the toughest part. The getting back was joyful, and so the regulations that we have, the cleaning stuff, the wearing the mask and all that, we were willing to do all that just so we could get back on. And then now we're so used to that. Like I said, it's really become, some things maybe we're doing better. So because there's a limit to how many people we can have in the hitting facility, we've had to do hitting instead of all 25 players there at the same time. We've done small groups, and so it's a longer day for the coaches, which is fine. It's what we're here to do. We love to coach. So now each smaller group is probably getting a little more individualized attention. And as coaches, I'm not sitting there watching 20 hitters at once. I'm watching 5, 6, 7. So that part's kind of been nice. And we went to morning practices just to have the whole facility to ourselves over at the field house. And I've never been a fan of going early before, but the energy the team has brought every morning really has turned me around on that. And I've really kind of enjoyed, okay, it stinks to wake up at 4 a.m., but once you've gotten through a nice 2-hour practice with good energy from your team, and then you're breaking up into 3 individual hitting sessions, by noon, you've gotten a really good day of practice in. And so, I think there's been a lot of positives that have come from that. I mean, obviously way more negatives, in the world in general. But from a softball perspective, I think the team and the coaches have done a good job of trying to find the silver lining and make things work. And it's made us more creative.
Well, and I've heard that from a number of different coaches. You mentioned the hitting facility working with the hitters in small groups. Is the same true about pitchers and catchers and working with the girls in the circle? I mean, there's a specialized group in and of itself that now would even command more attention, to where you guys can try to get them up to speed and game ready as quickly as possible.
Right. Yeah, I hesitate. I don't want to speak too much for Coach Jay, but from what I can tell in the conversations that she and I have had, she, that's even though I have a background of pitching coach, I think I always did my best work as a pitching coach when the head coach kind of let me run my part of the shop, and that's how I feel with Coach Johnson, associate head coach Johnson. So I think she has enjoyed being able to have more individual time with the pitchers as well. Because we do have a max in the hitting facility, she can only really work with 1, maybe 2 pitchers at a time. And that's been good. That, when in the past, sometimes she would have 4 or 5 pitchers going at the same time, and you really can't get the breakdown you need there. So I would say it's probably been a positive for her and for the pitchers.
Well, let's kind of shift focus to the weekend ahead and the start of your non-conference schedule. It is going to be basically a tour of the SEC. And let's start with the kind of the opening weekend. You get the Georgia Bulldogs and the Longwood Lancers. Not a lot of tape on anybody dating back for last year. So how do you guys begin to get a scout when the whole nation is working on a year removed small sample or even smaller sample if those teams were able to play to start this season already?
Right. Well, Georgia, we played last year, so we have a scout on them. They have a scout on us. We watched them this weekend. They did have some freshmen, so we'll need to get some information on them. Longwood, we don't have much. We're talking to people that we know that played them. They seem to have a really good pitcher, which is good. That's good for us to get us prepared for the MAC. So that there's nothing easy about this weekend. Two against a top 25 team and two against a team with really good pitcher and probably more. So as far as scouting reports, I kind of go back and forth. On the one hand, it's good to have a little bit of information on your opponent. On the other hand, we just want to worry about us, and we have to go to our strengths regardless of what we learn. And there are little things that we might pick up, how they might run first and third plays or, other, little knickknacks. But at the end of the day, we got to go play our best. And we've talked this year about not getting too, up for the big name teams and not having a letdown for, who's Longwood? Well, I'll tell you who Longwood is. They have a pretty good history of softball there. And maybe, not our team might not know that a lot, but, we didn't know much about Lafayette last year, in general as a program, and they turned around and got us. And, so we really wanted to talk to the team about that. We can't put all our eggs into we're playing a Power 5 team and then forget about the fact that these other teams get up to play us, so we really want to just focus on us this year and not worry about the uniform in the other dugout.
It's a great mentality to have. I mean, you can only control your controllables. What they do really shouldn't dictate how you guys handle an opponent. I couldn't agree with that more. For the fans out there that are obviously familiar, there's gonna be a number of familiar faces that come back to us this year for the 2021 season. But in reading your Jay's release on the newcomers for this year, it seems that you've gone with people that kind of shine both either in the circle or at multiple positions, and it's really been a high-end kind of Swiss Army knife freshman class that we're going to be seeing here. Is that a fair assessment on the little capsules I was talking to Jay about?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're kind of at a changing of the guard year over this year and next year. I think that, when I came here in 2014, 15, you had the assistant coaches that are, Coach Jay and Coach Roush were on the team. And that group kind of fed into the group that I inherited as a head coach with, Maddie Grimm and Holly Spears and Ronnie Ladinas and Janelle Hayes. Well, a lot of them are off either still playing at a higher level, national team or pro, or coaching, in the case of some of them. And then, and so what you're seeing now is the seniors, the super seniors, were the freshmen for Ronnie and Maddie and that class. So the senior class we have now, the true seniors that we have right now, are going to be the bulk of our starters probably this year. So what you're going to see is the culmination of their career, okay, and all their experience. And then what experience does that give to our juniors, our sophomores, our freshmen, and that builds into next year's class as well. And we'd really be transitioning kind of next year. We might be a lot younger when we play. So the experience that the freshmen will get, Jess LeBeau will pitch. She's a good pitcher. She's ready to pitch at Division I as a freshman. And then the other players in that class will probably be more role players and more your traditional freshmen trying to find a role here or there, maybe pinch run, maybe pinch hit, maybe defensive specialists late in the game, and just kind of getting themselves ready to, evolve in the coming years into the leaders of this program. I think we're at our best when that's our model, when, you're not doing a changing of the guard every year where you're building your, role players to be starters. I mean, you can talk about, Olivia Sporlini, for example, who's a super senior. Her freshman year, pinch runner, she maybe got in 1 or 2 games defensively. Her sophomore year, we forced her into pitching, not forced her, but she was willingly doing it, but it wasn't what she was recruited for. But the circumstances made it so that we needed pitchers, and she jumped into that. By her junior year, she was, a very strong voice on the bench, and and was playing more and more, in either defensively or like I said, from an offensive pinch runner or whatnot. And then last year as a senior, she had established herself as our starting third baseman. So the fact that she came back this year has been great. Her leadership's fantastic. But this program is chock full of stories like that. We hear of the kids like Maddie Grimm and Holly Spears and Brenna Brownfield and Andrea Scally, the people that played for 4 years and, got player of the year recognition or pitcher of the year recognition. But really the bread and butter of this team are the players like Coach Roush, who was a role player for 3 years. And then her senior year, she started every game. I mean, that's how, we really have success in this program. And so the freshmen we brought in are the kids that we see doing that. Much the same as our juniors and sophomores are in that transition period. Some will start this year and some will just see their role increase from last year.
And then that leads to my next question is, how important is that group of seniors to be mentors to those underclassmen as they kind of see their role and their path over that 4, maybe 5-year career kind of start to take shape as this season kind of progresses?
I mean, it's certainly an important role. I mean, they have to, that's just part of giving back to the program. You need to be a leader. The unique thing about this year's senior class is they kind of go against what the thing I just described about working your way up. Most of them have started for 4 years. Brenna, Kate, Kenna have all been starters. Andrea, obviously had some injury issues, but she's been in the circle, when she could be. So the experience level in that class is different than most classes. So I don't want them to feel like they have to be walking our underclassmen through everything. I just want them to lead by example and just go out there and give their best effort and show their work ethic and just leave the program, in a position where it can continue to succeed after they leave.
I mean, that's obviously, like you said, that is a fantastic way of just kind of, for lack of a better word, graduating everybody through their years within the Kent State softball program. And it's a fantastic way, like you said, to continue to reload rather than, like you said, the changing of the guard every single year. I know not a lot of coaches put a lot of stock into preseason polls, but it's always good cannon fodder for layup questions. But you've got to like the fact that the coaches are taking notice of what is expected of you this year, being listed at the top of the MAC preseason poll.
Yeah, it's a nice compliment. I think it's a good compliment to how we have run the program since before I got here. It's a nice, I inherited a very good program, and we've been able to keep it, at that level with a lot of help from alumni as coaches and just alumni, involvement, that just even talking to our team and talking about their traditions here. So I think it's a nice compliment for our past success. I think it's a nice compliment to the players that we currently have on the team. Like, I mentioned Andrea, she's the reigning pitcher of the year. Brenna's the reigning player of the year. And then, the starters that I mentioned, they've been starting for a number of years. And, but yeah, at the end of the day, that recognition and a buck will buy you a Coke at McDonald's. It doesn't really get you anything. You got to go out there and you got to play. And I think it's nice for the team to understand that, yeah, we have high expectations, but we're not sneaking up on anybody. People have high expectations of us as well. And it puts a little bit of a target on our back as well. If I'm Miami or Ball State, and they might not put a lot of weight into it either, but I'm Miami, I'm the defending champs, and I returned most of my team and we were voted second, so, who's to say, and we lost some people from our team. We lost Maria Sigletti, who was a huge part. We lost Maddie Huck, who was a huge part of our success in the last 4 years. So, we got to step up. We got to back that up. It's a nice compliment, but at the end of the day, it doesn't do much for us other than remind us of the expectations of this program.
And we'll close with this because some of our fans may not remember that the regular season means everything this year in softball. Do you like that because of the larger sample size, as opposed to you get a hot pitcher and you have a good week and anybody can steal a tournament?
Yeah, yeah, I could go either way on it, because in 15 and 16, when we won the regular season, we would have been, the representative. But lower seed beat us in the tournament. In 17, we were the 4 seed, and we got hot for a week, and we got to go. So we've seen both sides of it. And 19 was a great example, where Toledo was the 7 seed, and they beat the top 4 seeds to get there, including us twice. So I think the tournament's very exciting, and I do hope that it comes back someday, because it's just a great experience for everybody involved. But playing 40 games, I think we're gonna determine who the top team is, and it never hurts the MAC to make sure we're sending our best team to the NCAA tournament. The MAC traditionally has done well in the NCAA tournament, even when we haven't been sending our number 1 seed. We don't send our number 1 seed very often to the NCAA tournament, because the MAC tournament is typically won by a 2 seed or a 4 seed. Yet we still always manage to make a little noise. We won a game in 17. In 18, Ohio made it to the regional final. And I think every year before us, maybe for 3 or 4 years, the MAC team has won a game, even though it hasn't been the 1 seed. So it'll be interesting that we're guaranteed to send our number 1 seed this year, and to see what that team may do. And hopefully it's us.
Well, Coach, we look forward to watching you grow over the course of the season. Best of luck against the Dogs here this weekend down in Georgia, and stay safe, and safe travels.
Thanks. Thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.